Hey, what's going on, folks? This your boy New Jack coming at you live, and we have reached the 2015 NCAA March Madness Final Four. We have Kentucky versus Wisconsin, and you have Duke versus Michigan State. Now, in my previous March Madness video that I did, I picked it Kentucky, Wisconsin, Iowa State, and Louisville to advance to the Final Four. And I was 2 out of 4. I got Kentucky right, and I got Wisconsin right. And of course, Louisville lost to Michigan State in the Elite 8 regional championship game. And Iowa State lost the first round in the tournament. So Iowa State hurt my bracket. I had them going all the way to the championship game. The Final Four games. Let's start with the first game, Duke versus Michigan State. Let's look at the player stats on each team, starting with the Duke Blue Devils. Center, Jahlil Okafor, who is one of the best college basketball players in the country. He averages 18 points, 9 rebounds a game. Point guard, Quinn Cook. He averages 16 points, 3 assists a game. And small forward, Justice Winslow. He averages 13 points per game. Now let's look at the Michigan State player stats. Point guard, Travis Trice. He averages 15 points, 5 assists a game. Shooting guard, Denzel Valentine. He averages 14 points per game. And small forward, Brandon Dawson. He averages 12 points, 9 rebounds a game. Duke versus Michigan State. This is going to be a really interesting game. This game could go down the wire. But toward the end, I have Duke defeating Michigan State. I believe Joel Okafor is going to have a field day on the court on Saturday. So I have the Duke Blue Devils defeating Michigan State to advance to the national championship game. And the second game, Kentucky versus Wisconsin. I already know that this game will go down the wire. Let's take a look at the player stats on each team, starting with Wisconsin. Center, Frank Kaminsky, who I believe is the best player in college basketball. I know a lot of people are saying that Jahlil Okafor is the best player in college basketball this year. But in my opinion, Frank Kaminsky is the best player in college basketball this year. He averages 19 points, 8 rebounds a game. Power forward, Sam Dekker. He averages 14 points per game. And small forward, Nigel Haynes. He averages 12 points, 2 assists a game. Now let's look at the Kentucky Wildcats player stats. Shooting guard, Aaron Harrison. He averages 11 points, 1 assist a game. Shooting guard, Devin Booker. He averages 10 points per game. And power forward, who is projected to be the #1 pick in this year's NBA draft, Karl Anthony Towns. He averages 10 points, 7 rebounds a game. Wisconsin versus Kentucky. And like I said earlier, this game will go down the wire. Now, I said this a few weeks ago. The only team that I can see defeating Kentucky in this year's tournament was Wisconsin. I said that a few weeks ago. I even said that in my recent March Madness video, that the only team that I can see defeat Kentucky in this year's tournament was Wisconsin. In this game, I have the Kentucky Wildcats defeating Wisconsin. Kentucky is too big and too physical for Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin is going to make them sweat. No doubt about it. They're going to make them sweat. They're going to make Kentucky work. But toward the end, I have Kentucky defeating Wisconsin. So I have the Kentucky Wildcats advancing to the national championship game. And now we have reached the national championship game. Duke versus Kentucky. This is going to be a classic basketball game. I know a lot of people around the nation and the world would like to see this championship game. Duke versus Kentucky. I can't wait until tip-off. This is going to be a classic basketball game. Two of the best college basketball players squaring off. Jahlil Okafor versus Karl Anthony Towns. A really good matchup. A really good matchup. Kentucky has some big physical players in the perimeter, and they can rebound, and they can take it to the basket. Duke has some good shooters, and they have a big man, Jahlil Okafor. So this matchup is going to be very interesting. But toward the end, I have the Kentucky Wildcats defeating the Duke Blue Devils. Kentucky is the best basketball team this year. They will finish this season with a perfect record. One of the best basketball teams we have ever seen in recent years. Maybe the best out of all of them. But in this national championship game, I have the Kentucky Wildcats defeating the Duke Blue Devils. Now, this is going to be a good game. Don't get me wrong. But the Kentucky Wildcats, Kentucky, they are a basketball team. Kentucky has athletes. Duke has good players. And if you don't know the difference between athletes and good players, well, let me break it down. You can coach good players. You can coach them the fundamentals of what to do in the game. Athletes, you just can't coach. Athletes have the talent that you just can't coach. They were born with it. That's what Kentucky has. Kentucky has athletes. Duke has good players. You can coach good players. You can't coach athletes. Athletes come with talent. And sometimes you can't coach talent. That's what Kentucky has. And I'm going to give you some names of former athletes. Michael Jordan was an athlete. Bo Jackson was an athlete. Ken Griffey Jr. was an athlete. Barry Bonds was an athlete. Barry Sanders was an athlete. Deion Sanders was an athlete. Wilt Chamberlain was an athlete. Those are called athletes. Those type of players you just can't coach. You let those players do what they do best, and that's win. That's what an athlete is, and that's what the Kentucky basketball team has. Kentucky has athletes. You just can't coach athletes. The Kentucky Wildcats are going to win the national championship. So I have Kentucky defeating Duke to win the national championship. I hope y'all enjoyed this. There's more videos coming at y'all this week, so y'all stay tuned. I can lead you to the water, but I can't help you drink it. Y'all gonna come back to this video when all this is said and done, and y'all gonna put down in my comment section, New Jack, once again, brother, you right again.